Roger that.
What's up, guys? It's Alex here, and I am working in Photoshop today. I'm going to show you guys how to vectorize some hand lettering. So, I have this piece that I did right here. Let me align it the correct way, transform it using Control T, hold down Shift and rotate. I'm just gonna resize this a little bit, bring it into the center. So yeah, here's this piece here, it says silver and does all that hand lettering junk that people do, the curly R and whatever else. So let's start working on this a little bit. We're gonna use the eraser tool using E, and we're just gonna start clearing out a little bit of this excess paper. Just means there's less to work with, which is pretty good for this case. All right, now let's crop it down. Press C to bring out the crop tool. Let's just make it a bit smaller. Again, just less to work with. When we apply some of the filters we're gonna do, this makes it so there's just less values in the image that it has to process, which ultimately makes a better finished product, I find. Also, it just looks a bit neater. All right, now we have a much smaller piece, a bit bigger. We're gonna come up here, go to Image, Adjustments, and then Levels. And you're gonna get this prompt brought up. And we're gonna drag this middle arrow to the right. And what this does is that it makes the darks of the images much darker. So if I were to drag it to the left, it makes everything lighter, but we're dragging it to the right. The middle arrow to the right. And now these blacks are much blacker. And then the most right arrow, we're gonna drag to the left, and that makes the lights a lot lighter. So it almost looks like if you open up a regular document, that plain white color, that's what you're looking for to really drop out those textures. All right, so this is pretty good. The contrast is nice. These lighter areas where you can see the stroke, they're still pretty constructed. So this is kind of what you're looking for. The darks to be dark, the lights to be light. And if you have any of these fragile strokes, like right here, that they're still somewhat intact, whatever effect you're going for. And this process can be a bit different if, let's say, you take a picture in not the best light, if there's a shadow on half of the picture. In those moments, it might be better to just take a different picture, but otherwise you're gonna fiddle with it. I used a black pen for this, so if you use a different color, adjusting it those ways can also change the image. So just feel it out. You want the darks to be dark, you want the lights to be light. All right, on to the next thing. Next thing, we're gonna come over here. We're gonna click on the thumbnail for layer 0 for the hand lettering. We're gonna come down here to blend if gray. This layer, 255. Gonna grab this arrow and drag it to the left. And you can see that it already just drops out all the white and we're left with just the lettering. It's a bit deceiving though in these thin strokes. There can still be some white. So we're gonna drag it a bit more. We're gonna press Alt and drag it even more. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna drag it a bit more just to show what happens. You start to lose the darks. That's why we wanted our darks to be darker, our lights to be lighter. That contrast is sort of what makes this part of the vectorization process go by a lot smoother. Great, press OK. And now we're gonna create a new layer. Press Shift, press layer with just your lettering. We're gonna merge these two layers. And what merging those layers did is that now that white background that we were working with is completely gone now. We just have the text. And I can show that to you by opening a new layer, pressing Control Backspace, and we apply yellow to this. And now if you look closely, we zoom in here, you can still see some white. So that's what I was talking about earlier. So I'm gonna come over to layer 1 again. Gonna open the same prompt. We're just gonna drop out some more. Hold Alt. So you can see, that's a bit better, yeah. Sometimes you have to go pretty far. So let's zoom in and you can see that there's yellow in between this. There's no longer that white that was there. Great. Some other things you can do now, since this is a vectorized hand lettering piece, is this black is completely editable now. So if you come over to the thumbnail, double click it, we're gonna go to color overlay, and now you can completely overlay whatever color you want on top of that hand lettering. So in that you lose the texture. So think about that before you do that. Come over to color overlay, pick whatever colors you want. It could be white, black, any color. Cool. That cyan kind of looks like Easter colors now. I'm gonna turn that off. You can also do gradients. I really like working with gradients. Some of my hand lettering pieces on my Instagram do that. And in another tutorial, I'll show you a bit more about the complete process, the hand lettering on the paper, all the way to a finished final product. So feel free to check out those posts on my Instagram to see a bit more of what might be coming in the future. But yeah, that is how you can vectorize a hand lettering piece. One of the many ways. There's a ton of different ways. This is just how I've really streamlined it over the course of doing hundreds and hundreds of hand lettering pieces. Pretty cool. All right. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, I'd appreciate it if you share it to anyone who might need it. Thank you so much for watching. I think I'm going to make more tutorials because I think I have some things that can really help out some young, not necessarily even young, just beginners. And people always say that if you really want to get good at something, or if you want to see if you're good at something, you should teach it and see how effective you are in that. And I think I have some things that I can teach. So thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful in some way. If you have any concerns at all, put them in the comments. I'll respond to whatever I can. This was Alex, and thank you so much for watching.
C-A-T-Y